Every hour that you spend on tasks that someone else could do is an hour that you're not spending on the work that only you can do. Hi there, Kelsey Toner here, the founder of Guest Focused Tour Business Coaching, where every day myself and our team of extraordinary tour and activity business coaches are helping you build a thriving, profitable tour business. So here's a question. What is your time actually worth? Not what you'd like it to be worth, not what you charge your guests if you stepped in and led a tour, but right now, based on how you're spending your hours, what are you paying yourself? Because if you're answering routine emails, maybe updating your social media, chasing down guide schedules, or spending a lot of time in your inbox, you may be doing $20 an hour work. And every hour you spend on $20 tasks is an hour that you're not spending on $200 tasks, the stuff that can actually really move the needle in your business. Today, we're going to explore how to figure out which tasks are stealing your time and what to do about it. Welcome back to our series on how to be more productive as a tour business owner. These are practical, no-nonsense best practices to get you out of reactive mode and stay focused, stay disciplined, and actually make sure that you are working on the most important things. So a lot of the tour business owners that we work with often get exhausted, especially during peak season, right? Working 50 hours, 60 hours, sometimes 70 hours a week. You know what it's like, working all hours. And when we ask what's filling their days, it's usually some version of this: answering emails, updating availability, guide scheduling, posting on social media, responding to reviews, basic bookkeeping, and invoicing. And none of this is unimportant, and it all needs to happen. But here's the problem. You're the most expensive person in your company to be doing these tasks. And we have to use the framework of opportunity cost. Every hour that you spend on tasks that someone else could do is an hour that you're not spending on the work that only you can do. Pricing strategy, business development, designing new products or services, building systems that scale. The author and podcast Tim Ferriss calls this the hidden tax on entrepreneurs. We think we're saving money by doing everything ourselves, but we're actually paying the highest possible price: your time and ultimately our business growth. Here's another way to think about this. We call it the $20 versus $200 rule. So essentially, we've got $20 an hour tasks: inbox triage, scheduling, data entry, posting pre-made content, responding to routine guest questions, basic admin. These tasks are necessary, but they don't require your specific expertise. Somebody else, potentially a virtual assistant or a team member, could do them. Now, $200 an hour tasks are things like pricing strategy, negotiating a new partnership with a hotel concierge, relationship building, designing a new high-margin tour, fixing a sales page maybe that isn't converting as effectively as others, or building a new system so that you are no longer a bottleneck. These require your judgment, your relationships, your vision. You as the tour business owner should be doing these things, or put another way, if you're not doing them, who is? When you start adding this up, the math can be brutal. If you spend just 4 hours a day on $20 tasks, that's 20 hours a week. Over a year, that's over 1,000 hours that you could have spent on that $200 work. Or put another way, that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars in possible growth, in possible profit, that is ultimately wasted. That is the true cost of you spending your time on those $20 an hour tasks. So if delegation is so obviously valuable, why don't more tour business owners do it? We hear the same objections all the time when we're working with our clients. The most obvious objection, and we've all been guilty of this: well, no one can do it as well as I can. Maybe, but the real question should be, does it need to be done perfectly, or does it just need to be done? If somebody else can do a task 80% as well as you, that's usually good enough, because it frees you to do the work that only you can. Perfectionism on low-value tasks is just procrastination in disguise. That's worth repeating. Perfectionism on low-value tasks is not serving you. The next most common objection is, well, I can't afford to hire help. And you might not be able to afford a full-time employee or even a part-time employee, but can you afford $15 an hour for a virtual assistant for 5 hours a week? That's only $75. It's less than 1 or 2 guest pays for your tour in all likelihood. And here's the flip side. Can you afford to keep doing $20 an hour work when your business needs your $200 an hour attention? That third objection is that it takes longer to explain than just do it myself. I'm basically listing off all the things that go through my head. So I relate a lot to really trying to focus my energy on the most important tasks, on our superpower. This one is true the first time, right? If a task repeats weekly, training somebody once saves you hours forever. Short-term friction is worth that long-term freedom. Our recommendation is that before you delegate a task, there's actually 3 questions that you should ask in this order. First, and most importantly, can I eliminate this entirely? Some tasks exist just because we've always done it that way, or somebody's asking me to do this. We can often eliminate them entirely. Second, can I automate this? A lot of $20 an hour work can be handled by tools or software or a system you probably already have up here in your head. Automated email responses, Zapier connections between 2 pieces of software, or canned responses for common guest questions. Third is that if it can be eliminated or automated, then we want to delegate it to a person. If you've not had a virtual assistant or admin assistant in the past, we highly recommend that you look into doing so. There's a couple of quick points here. One, if you are based in the West, in the United States or in Europe, keep in mind that you can often work with folks in different parts of the world who are talented, who speak fantastic English, who are very, very skilled and very, very affordable. So I've worked with folks in the Philippines, in India, Jordan, through Central and South America, and there are talented people all over the world who are available at your fingertips through sites like Fiverr, Upwork, onlinejobs.ph if you want to connect with highly talented folks in the Philippines, but even something as simple as Canadian virtual assistants. If you are a US-based business, you can hire a Canadian virtual assistant for 75 cents on the dollar just because of that currency arbitrage. Finally, keep in mind that there's a lot of these $20 an hour tasks that are actually part of our personal life. Oftentimes we as entrepreneurs think that, well, I could hire an admin assistant for the business, but I wouldn't want to blur that personal and professional. Well, I'd encourage you to rethink that. We actually use a virtual assistant to help with a lot of the tasks that my wife and I have to do. If that's something that I know is going to take up 3 or 4 hours a month, if that's a consistent item that is eating up my time, that could be better spent building and growing the business, and that's a great task for a virtual assistant. Okay, so let's put this into action. Like many of the things in this productivity series, a lot of it starts with tracking our time. Let's look at a week. Write down what you're actually doing hour by hour. Be honest, nobody's watching. At the end, try and label each task. Is this $20 an hour work or $200 an hour work? Second, we're gonna pick at least one of those $20 tasks that repeats weekly and figure out how to get it off our plate. Can we eliminate it? Can we automate it? Or do we need to delegate it to a virtual assistant or team member? Third, protect 2 hours this week for $200 of work only. Block it on your calendar. No email, no admin, no fires, just high leverage work that moves your business forward. Now, if you go through this exercise and you start to appreciate, whoa, like a lot of my time is actually going towards these $20 an hour tasks, and that's okay. I don't want you to be disappointed or frustrated or beat yourself up. A big part of this productivity series is about doing things differently, about bringing some awareness to how we're spending our time. And one of the best things you can do after you've done an audit of your time as an entrepreneur like this is to have a second set of eyes over the work that you're doing. And so I'd love to invite you to book a free strategy call with one of our tour business coaches. You can learn more and check availability at guestfocus.com/book a call. And we'd love to go through your week, your average week, and help you find where we can eliminate, where we can systematize, or where we might be able to delegate. In the comments down below, let me know what are some of the things that you've been able to get off your plate as a tour business owner. Do you have some recommendations for somebody who's potentially hiring a virtual assistant or an admin assistant? We'd love to hear some of the biggest breakthroughs that you've had. If you're getting some value from this series on how to be more productive as a tour business owner, it would mean the world to me if you could share it with a friend or a colleague. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video.